Hello and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us tonight for the Cookout podcast where we talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling.
Yes, sir. Back again as always on Tuesday. It is Tuesday, April 9th, the day, 2 days after WrestleMania. I wanted to say the day after WrestleMania. 2 days after WrestleMania 40. 1 day after the WrestleMania, Raw after WrestleMania. How's that? Have both of you guys watched Raw after WrestleMania?
I did. Probably the best.
Sammy, you watched it?
After Mania.
Oh, yeah.
I've only seen so far up through The Rock and Cody Rhodes, so I saw the two of them. I don't know how I feel about this concept that his story with The Rock has just begun. That's a little disappointing. I mean, I like The Rock, but I'm not necessarily interested in a long-term story with him and Cody Rhodes either, so I don't know.
I mean, he kind of had more of a story going with Cody than Roman did.
Well, there is that. There is that.
I think story is a stretch. I don't see them in multi-man matches. I think they're really going to do one match and it'll lead to Roman versus Rock. But I don't think it's going to be a whole full-on feud. Even though I will say that belt looked good on Rock. All right.
So is that WrestleMania 41?
No.
Roman versus Rock.
No. Oh, Roman versus Rock. Still no.
You think,
no.
No, I don't think so.
We already done passed the boat. Like it should have been at WrestleMania 39. So no.
It should have been.
Like y'all want to do this 2 years down the road? No.
Well, I mean, where are we going to do it then? Are we going to do it at the Royal Rumble? That way, both of them are kept out of the Royal Rumble.
I really don't care. I just don't want to do it at Saudi Arabia. That's all I'm concerned about. Even though all you could.
So you would be fine with it at being at Mania next year then? 41.
No. Okay, fine is a very broad word. I'll be like, cool, but no, if I had my choice. Yeah, I know. I'm talking in circles, but there you go. WrestleMania 41 would be at the bottom of my list. No, because isn't this whole thing of the Triple H era is new, fresh feuds and no more the main call it veterans taking over being the main event. So I don't think, and then hindsight of this year they're hijacking it because it was supposed to be Roman versus Rock, but they wanted Cody. So I don't think they're going to try to do that twice. So yeah.
But it wouldn't be for the title, so it wouldn't be the main event. It would be more like a Rock Hogan situation where, it might be the match of the night, but it didn't go on the main event.
If I could trust you for them to hear you, maybe, but no, I don't see them ever saying Roman or Rock would ever be okay. Now, because we know that, Rock versus Hogan, people were like, that should have been the last. But yeah, I don't ever see a world right now where Roman and Rock will be mid or the first match. It would be probably the main event. That's just me, though.
Well, I mean, any other pay-per-view, it has to be the main event. Like, WrestleMania is the one where you can be like, we can put this at the beginning.
Yeah, no. Case in point, Rhea versus Becky, even though I found out she was sick the day after, and good on Becky for keep going. But
well,
yeah, it was first.
Since you mentioned that, let's go right into it. WrestleMania Night 1, Match 1, Rhea versus Becky.
We're not reviewing. No, we're not doing the whole thing. We're not. No offense. We're not reviewing this whole freaking 2 night of WrestleMania. And y'all know, if you want to know our thoughts, go watch the freaking watch along.
I've watched. That's right. No, I mean we don't have to touch on every match, but we should touch on the important ones, at least the title matches and whatever. I mean, I figured we would talk a little. We would talk about Rhea and Becky at some point.
We got like 90 minutes, and there's 10 matches. We can knock them all through. We'll talk more about them. Seriously?
Um,
See, Puppy Joe. Puppy Joe agree with me. Yes, he does. Puppy Joe just agreed with me. All right, fine. But another thing is, it wasn't that good. And again, I'm not. I don't want to pile it on because again, Becky had strep throat. She had a 100-degree fever. So you really can't fault her for how it went. It was decent, but I wouldn't have put that at hindsight's 2020. If she was healthier, maybe it would have been a bigger banger or a bigger opener. But what we watched
Night
in that,
two was much better.
yeah, yeah. And so what we watched in night
you mean
one,
Io and Bailey specifically?
oh, sure, it was way better than EOB. No, no, night two killed night one. It
Oh
was
yes, in
definitely
general, yes.
in
Overall, yeah, I
general,
think so.
yes. This is probably the first time night two was better than night one in the
Hmm.
4
I
years that
agree.
we've been doing WrestleMania. And like I said,
Hmm.
hindsight is 2020 of on paper, yes, Becky versus Rhea is first, but you know she's sick. You really can't change it, so I'm trying not to dump on it too much. But watching the card in real time, it's like, oh, this could have been in the middle, and it would have
Do
been
you
better.
think it was always going to go first, or do you think they made it first because she was sick and they wanted to get her in and out and done? And
I think it was always first because you have the tag team match with Roman, Cody, Seth, and The Rock. So I don't think
Right.
it was going to be in the middle.
We all figured Rhea was winning, right? Did anybody have Becky?
I don't think anybody picked Becky in the predictions. No,
I had
I mean,
Becky. I had
I,
Becky at Royal Rumble, and when I say I had Becky, I had more faith that they would tell us that Becky had a chance. But 3 weeks before WrestleMania, I'm like, okay, they're not putting too much time into this. Rhea's running. Let's move on.
All right.
I
Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Match two, we had
Wait,
R
wait, wait,
Truth and The
wait, wait,
Miz
wait,
and A Town Down.
wait. ALW, what you gonna say before we move on?
I was just gonna say that I mean I picked Rhea and I think everyone kind of knew Rhea was going to win, but Becky is loved by the company and she's always a threat to win, so you never quite know. I mean it's one of those matches that I thought was fairly kind of up in the air. There was always a chance that Becky could have won, but um, yeah, I mean, obviously there was something wrong, and now we know she was sick because the match was shorter than it should have been. It never quite got going like,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess now we know why. So, at this point, I don't know that I need to see it again, but just because we know that she was sick, it might be nice to see him when she's not. When both of them are at full health.
De-
So,
definitely run it back, but give them like three
Uh,
3 months before doing it.
yeah, yeah. All right, Tammy
uh,
Joe, go ahead.
Match two, A Town Down Under and Awesome Truth won the tag titles. Uh,
Hmm.
Awesome Truth for Raw, A Town Down Under for SmackDown. But the moment for me was the entrance of Regeneration X.
That was probably the. It was only 3 entrances night one that actually interests me of Mania night one, and that was definitely was one of them. Like, oh, that's cute, that's adorable.
Um,
Yeah.
we also then had the tag team match of Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dom. And meh, I mean,
Brought to you by Agua Fresca.
Well, I mean, if there was I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it because I'm not a big Ray fan, but if there was a low point of the show, I think this would be it. I mean, if there was a down point of the show, and even that, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I wouldn't say that this was a low point. I'm just saying if there was a low point of night one, this was probably it.
following that, we had Brother versus Brother.
Which I want to talk a little bit about brother versus brother. I wanted to Jay and Jimmy because I was extremely excited for this match when they were
Hmm.
before it happened, and I don't want to say that it wasn't good because it was good. I just feel like they could have done more. It's like they could have. I feel like they could have gone another gear, or even a little bit longer. I don't know. Something. It didn't quite hit what I hoped it would hit. It didn't hit the expectations I had for it. What about for you guys?
Same here, and I'm gonna answer my own question, but I'll still put it out there. Why wasn't Rikishi the freaking ref? I know you had the spots on night two. I know you had Devon. I'm sorry, no, Bubba Ray be the ref, but it's WrestleMania. All shenanigans you can shoot. I don't know how much it would have helped the match, but I do think it would have bumped it up another point. But someone had the what you call it, had the good someone had a good word thought. Like if when you're wrestling, when you're both your wrestling styles are the same, it's kind of hard to make it exciting when it's just a basic match. So
Yeah.
I can see that.
mm,
I feel like they never quite, and it's probably because it's hard to generate because it's not there. But there wasn't the grudge and animosity and anger that I really wanted from brother versus brother. It didn't feel like too. It's probably because there isn't a whole lot of conflict really at the moment. To be honest with you, I mean they're trying to generate whatever conflict they actually have. So, or
I mean,
they're
I
trying to
kind of
generate
feel
some
like
conflict for the.
this brother versus brother match actually has more conflict than the previous ones.
okay. So
Uh,
I got we'll stay on here for a little bit more. I got roasted in the comments when I brought up this question of no, not even a question, a statement. I was like, honestly, what brother versus brother is good? And they're talking about, well, what about Owen versus Brett? What about Matt Hardy versus Jeff during the
really?
deletion match? It was like 4 or 5. I'm like, I just asked I just brought it up.
Uh,
I really didn't know.
my favorite would actually be Cody versus Dustin at Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
That'd be my favorite.
Now, I will admit, because we're family, and I love you guys, and and I appreciate and I respect you enough to say the truth. I haven't watched most of. I've only watched Matt versus Jeff, and that was not good. I don't care. I don't give a dog daggone. That was not good. That brother versus in WWE, and I think the Legion match. Can you really call that a match? Was it okay again? Like, because it really was just a setup to them being in the same team, and I'm pretty sure was a ref even in there? Like if you saw it, please tell me. Was it a traditional match? Was it or was it just the mayhem that is Broken Matt Hardy, and it was just all that ensued?
Sammy,
All right.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
I honestly don't remember. And honestly, at the top, right now that I'm thinking about it, just because you guys mentioned them are the only reason I can even remember the other brother and brother matches. I don't
Thank
really even remember any other
you.
brother and brother matches off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and watch them to rate them in comparison to this. I mean, it's highly possible that maybe they don't ever come off well. I mean, I don't know. I do remember Dustin and Cody, and I thought Dustin and Cody was good when they did it in
that
AEW.
was like
I
a
remember
match
thinking
of
that.
the year contender.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember that being very solid. I remember thinking that it might have been Dustin's best match of his career. Um,
Mhm. At that
so
time, I think it was Cody's too.
yeah,
So
so
I'll
I do
shame
remember that. Good.
I'll shame myself because I do think I should have watched that one. Okay, so let's compare those two. Let's compare Justin and Cody with this one. I
Oh,
Dustin
didn't
and
see
Cody
the
was
match.
definitely better than this.
I
oh
didn't see
yeah,
the match,
way better.
but it was no DQ, right? It because
Yeah.
Cody's face was bloody, so
That,
I'm pretty sure it's not
yeah,
involving
that's
Not
good.
as
that.
bloody as Dustin's.
Well, that the paint helped. The paint helped with his face. So trying to make Jay versus Jimmy better. I said Rikishi's the ref. Should this have been a no DQ match to make it a little bit better, or would that have helped at all? Because like again, DQ matches in WWE are not like AEW. So yeah, it's gonna be tables and chairs, but it's gonna be real PG. It's not gonna be
Right.
I'm gonna kill you with this table.
Yeah.
I think it should have been an I
Uh,
Quit match.
yeah. So that might have been better. I don't
And
know.
I
I
thought
mean,
it
I'm not.
was when you I thought it was when
But
you put it in the Discord. Yeet, no yeet. I'm like,
yeah,
is he
yeet or
serious?
no yeet.
Is he serious or he's just playing with me? I didn't know.
I
I mean,
mean,
I don't
basically
know.
an I Quit match, but either Jimmy has to say yeet or Jay has to say no yeet.
I'm often one of these people that has criticisms with no solutions, as you'll find out. So I have no idea, like, because I'm terrible at booking. So I have no idea, like, what I would have done to try to make this match better. Maybe I Quit would have made it better. I don't know. I think we needed more from both of them, character-wise, as far as wanting to show more animosity towards the other and to make it more, like more dramatic. But other than that, I mean, who knows? I don't know. I just know that it didn't quite hit what I wanted it to hit.
All right, last
Next on the
question.
card is the 6-woman tag match:
wait.
Jade, Bianca, and Naomi versus Damage
Wait.
Control.
Before we go to that one, I'm gonna ask y'all all a question, then we'll go. It's real quick. Do y'all want to see them run it back?
Maybe if they put it in a different environment, maybe if they give it a stipulation this time, maybe try it
Maybe if
with,
it's
I don't know, in a cage or Hell in a Cell or
maybe if it's for
TLC
like the
match,
U.S.
maybe something.
title after the draft.
So you're not opposed to it, is what I'm hearing.
I'm not opposed to it now. I mean, it wasn't to the point where it was like, oh no, don't do that again. It was just, it could have been better. You know what I mean? Or I was hoping it would have been better. But I think there's more there. I think there's more meat on the bone. I mean, it's highly possible that they didn't give us everything. Maybe they know they're going to do this again, and so they're not giving us everything now. Who knows? Save something for later.
So, Asuka's streak continues.
Asuka's streak continues.
I feel bad because I truly love those teams. I truly do. And so it's like, why do these teams have to go against each other? And again, it's not a thing until it's a thing. It's like, no, Asuka, she didn't win. Oh wait, what was that 1 year? Nope. So when do y'all become conscious that y'all are doing this to people? It's like with Sasha Banks. When are you conscious that she's never won at Mania? And then, are y'all doing this on purpose? These are the questions we have to ask you now.
Like, that's where she got her first defeat, was versus Charlotte.
Oh, we're not. Let's not. We're not going to bring that up. I think y'all can agree that was stupid.
A lot of people online were upset about the advertisement for the match.
Yeah, stop.
I thought Jade had a solid debut for her in-ring debut. I thought it came off pretty well. She obviously has the help of Naomi and Bianca to kind of carry her a little bit. Not that I think she necessarily needs it, but just to ease her in. And then obviously her opponents are all, quality wrestlers. This match was good. It was, I think it was what I expected it to be for the most part. Like I always say with multi-men or multi-person matches, it's always a little bit of a cluster fuck, and so it's hard to kind of always see what's going on all the time and catch every little thing. But it was good though. I mean, I thought this was definitely better for what it's worth than Rhea and Becky opening the show. As far as women matches go, on night one, this was definitely better.
Okay.
So
I'll you go first. Yeah.
I am assuming that the companies picked what matches they were advertising, that WWE wasn't picking and choosing, that Rick Ross was like, give me Jade Cargill. I want her to endorse my product. That's what I am thinking in my head.
If that's the truth, I need Rick Ross to come out and say it, because if it's not, like certain things, I need for people to come out and say that. So if that's true, please Rick Ross and say that, so we can stop pounding WWE when it wasn't even their fault.
So is the implication WWE is racist because they had chicken wings during the black people in the match? Is that what's going on?
Well, more so that, and then you have agua fresca for the Latino match.
Yeah, no, I mean, we talked about it during. I mean, I remember pointing out the agua fresca. Sammy, I think someone pointed out the agua fresca, and we're talking about it. I mean, that to me that seems like classic WWE. Doesn't make it not racist, obviously. It's highly racist, but it's still classic.
I will say that the Latinos on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, They
Yeah,
were not
shouldn't have
mad.
a
They were
problem.
actually pretty happy about
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean it's always interesting to see who actually gets offended by things because a lot of times the people that you would think would get offended a lot of times aren't. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Mhm.
other people that are. So I mean, it just depends on what it is and what's going on. But that often surprises me.
And then more so, what you call it? I wonder if they know, because like I said, one doing it one time, coincidence. Doing it twice, I'm like, all right, can y'all have it? I love it was a talk show with all females, and I love this, and I love what she said. Every company should have an intern named Jamal. A Jamal should be whatever Jamal should be, the minority new guy that can just say when you're putting stuff on paper, can just say, hey, what's up? I don't think this is what we want to say. I don't think y'all know what this is saying to other people, but I think this is gonna be a wrong message. Can we do something different? Can we do different people? Can we do a different brand for this match? But no, match wise, I had fun. My girls look so good. I love each and every one of them. Please do not try to what you call it. I know y'all aren't, but I'm saying the wrestling world. Don't try to pit other chicks against each other. Don't do that. Don't do that. We all here to have a good and fun time, and we do.
You like Jade's new hairdo?
It was so cute. Like I love the whole thing because one of the girls has something different, and they were all cute. This is me being a girl. They were all cute, and
And now,
then
if I understand correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're all have something to do with Beyonce's new album too. Is that correct?
so not the new album, but it was more so the Renaissance one where she's silver with on a horse. So it was it
Okay.
was it was the inspiration came from that one. Yes.
Okay.
Now what I
Okay.
want to know is because we know Bianca does her outfit. I want to know if she did something with each and every one of their outfits. Like, did she have a hand in everyone's outfit, not just hers? Okay.
Yeah.
it.
I
Next
don't.
up, Sami Zayn defeated Gunther and is once again the Intercontinental Champion.
I was on the fence. I was like I don't think anyone was against Sammy. I think we were just rooting more for Chad to have the spot. But that entrance, and he was with his but I'm sorry, you mom, that's your the wife of your son. That's cool. Okay, that's your coach. That's cool. When I saw KO, I'm like, oh,
I'm
he was
excited for
trying to
Sammy to
win.
cut a French promo in Paris.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Should be interesting.
when KO was the last one and hyping him up, I'm like, okay, fine, he has to win. Even though I don't, I want to know did WWE realize they're on the 666th day? I'm like, ooh, can
So let
we? It
me
was
ask you
six.
guys a
Yeah.
genuine question. I know that we all like Sami Zayn, and we all have, he's a feel good guy. He's one of those underdogs. But when if you're sitting down with a piece of paper and you're literally ranking wrestlers, and you have, let's say, an A tier, a B tier, and a C tier, are Gunther and Sammy on the same tier for you?
Um,
In the grand
yes,
in the
Okay.
grand scheme,
they're not.
so here's this. For me, there's three layers, right? We have the bottom, the newcomers, mid card, upper card. Technically, I do put them in on the same tier, but I think Gunther is pushing the main event card a little bit harder than Sammy is right now. That's my opinion.
So then that asks me, does going from Gunther holding the belt for a record amount of days to Sammy winning it, is the belt going back to more of a mid card feel? Or is Sammy a big enough name and a main event enough superstar to keep it at the level that Gunther's raised it to?
So
I
the mid
believe he
card,
does.
yeah, and that title is a mid card title. Gunther did his job, because even though it was a mid card title before Gunther, it was the lower bottom of the freaking tier. It was the jobber, like no one's. It wasn't special. It hadn't been special in a minute. So Gunther did his job in putting it where it was properly supposed to be. And yes, I do think Sammy is able to keep it there. It's a matter of booking and a matter of stories, as always.
Sammy has good matches. He's a fun talent. He delivers solid promos. Like in the backstage stuff, like Sammy is of a higher tier than Gunther is. And when it comes to in ring, I don't feel like Sammy's lacking too far behind from Gunther.
Like,
So how long do you think Sammy holds the belt for? When do you think he loses
No
it
idea.
to who? No idea.
if I had to,
I feel like you could keep it on him for a while, but part of me is just like, man, they could just have Gunther win it back from him at Backlash.
now
There's
see, I
nothing
don't want
stopping them from doing
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I think Gunther should take a minute and become Cody's next challenger. Like I said, on camera, Gunther is hitting that. Gunther is hitting the main event, and so I think they should just let him just hit it real quick with Cody. Now I'm not sure if you bring him back after that or what, but I do think it's time for him after resting to go to the main event.
that. I
So I don't
think
want that.
Gunther will main event Bash in Berlin,
Maybe. Well, like, see,
late
well,
August.
that's a different conversation because I believe Drew is signing. So it's crazy if he's not main. Well, that's Clash of the Castle in Scotland. So okay, never mind. We ran.
You're thinking June. I'm
Um,
talking late August.
yeah. That's why I said. Um,
We're gonna get both
so
Bash in Berlin and Clash of the Castle in Scotland. So
yeah, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say for me, I don't want Gunther to have that title just yet. The
as a
only thing I
fan,
could, as a fan,
good, good.
I
No,
don't
go
want
ahead.
him to have it. I don't want him to have it back. The only thing I can see him having it back and it'll be okay is if and when Sheamus comes back, he beats Gunther for it. That's the only thing I'm like, all right, that's the story. That's worth him getting the IC title back.
So as a fan, which did you enjoy more? Sammy beating Gunther and ending his reign, or Cody getting the win over Roman on night 2 and ending that reign? Which,
Sammy
for
beating
both of you,
Gunther.
was
Personally,
more?
Sammy.
Sammy beating Gunther.
But now
So
that you mention it, Sheamus is a nice shout of who to take the title off of Sammy. Sheamus has never
that is
held that belt. If Sheamus wins it, he becomes a Grand Slam champion.
that is correct. That's correct. All right, next match.
Uh, Main event of night one, tag match. Dwayne and Joe versus Cody and Colby,
So
right?
you both have seen. I think you both said you saw Monday Night Raw. So, and I've only seen up through the Cody and Rock part. So that's all I'm going to comment on. But I mean, Dwayne says I'm going away for a little bit, which is good. He's going to go away for a little while. He's going to go do some
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
But he says our story's just begun too, which leaves me a little because I don't need to see a whole bunch more of him, especially in a year from now when he's come back. Like every time he comes back, he's older. He's a little slower. Now I get he's still in very good shape, and I get it, but age does play an effect and it does catch up on you, and it does, it is the ultimate equalizer. So I don't need to see him, and we kind of discussed this a little bit at the beginning, in a big long feud with Cody. So I'm a little nervous about that. I thought this match worked well. We obviously knew, because we knew that they were going to be a bloodline, it was going to be bloodline rules on night 2, that The Rock and Roman were winning this match. I mean, I think everybody kind of predicted
Um,
that. So, in that regard, I guess it's a little predictable, and that's ultimately
But
what ended up happening. But this match was good, though. Ultimately,
this
I thought
match
it
here
came off
is
well.
also the reason why we're going to get that match. The Rock pinned Cody.
Yeah,
So the pivot,
yeah.
So
right? So the pivot,
we
right,
got to have
is
Cody pin The Rock.
yeah. Like I said, I understand totally what you said, what you mean AOW. In my mind, I don't see Rock having a full on story where it's like okay, in my mind. Okay. Let's go back. So, like we said, this was supposed to be Roman versus Rock. It was on equals on paper. But people on internet was like, you know what? No, we do not want Roman versus Rock for the main event of WrestleMania Night 2 in prediction. Right? So they flipped it. And in that flip, we get the final boss Brock. And oh my, he's been delicious since he turned heel. He's been so freaking yummy. I can't stand it. It's one of this is the reason why letting go of the bloodline story has been so hard. Because yeah, it has its ebbs and flows, but when it's on top and it's hot, it's so freaking hot. It's so
and
freaking hot.
and it also has this feeling of like The Rock is even happier being the heel, getting the boos. Like
Oh yeah.
he gets a smile on his face, and it's like this is even better than what I've been doing the last decade. When I come in, and everybody's so happy and chants with me, like, oh, they're feeling me now.
Like I'm trying to go in order, but when he finally got to his promo on Smack on Raw, and they're doing the what chance, and he got him with the biggest record in Philadelphia for being the biggest piece of trailer park. I like it. He was like, I got y'all, I got y'all, I got y'all. And even Philly was like, yeah, you got us, you got us, you got us. So I'll say this. I don't want a lot of matches when Rock comes back, but I do want this character for just a little bit longer. Like I said, he don't even have to
Well,
be there. It could be just like something didn't go his way, and Paul Heyman was like, "I got the call from the final boss, and we're changing it." Y'all can just do that. You don't have to be on freaking screen, and that would be just enough for me.
there is a lot you can do with this too, with a heel authority figure. Like we've seen in the past what you can do with a heel authority figure, and this time it's freaking Dwayne Johnson. Like this
And it,
this
and,
this is a role it feels like he's been building his entire career up to play.
and then
Yeah.
Triple H's is COO, the creative officer, and so it's
The
like
I think that I get this feeling that as much as it might be fun at times to be a babyface, the heel is the sweet spot where everybody kind of wants to be, right? Everyone loves being a heel. Ultimately, everyone kind of wants to get a chance to be that heel character.
because he can do whatever he
And
wants.
obviously, The Rock is
uh,
basking in it at the moment, so and he's killing it.
He
time
can do whatever he
has
wants.
proven that only the nicest people make the best heels.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Look,
since we're talking about Roman, I'll ask now, even though I could ask at the end of the night too at the main event, Roman and Cody, but I'll ask now. What is going on with Roman? What happens with Roman next? Is he going to go away, take a vacation? How long before we see him again? When he comes back, what is he doing? What's next?
So here's the thing: he did the AD biography, right? And he said, I have to watch it again, but it was some kind of derivative of if he loses, he threw out he's retiring, but no one freaking brought it up on commentary. I'm like, so did y'all not agree with what he said on the biography? Did y'all just want to put him in the rug? Like that's what he said. I'm not sure how many people have seen the A&E show, but that's what he said. But definitely a break. Definitely a break. And going back to the Rock, I just need him to do two matches. For me personally, just two. I just need to do Rock and Cody because let's face it, those two were the primal people to the build of Mania. And then Rock versus Roman. I don't need him to win the belt. I don't need him to go on the tirade. I just need those two matches and he can be done. And I'm fine with that. Yes.
I mean, he's gonna have another two.
What?
Rock?
Well, there's the person who's been begging to have a match with him for the last decade and hasn't gotten it, and you know he's gonna be begging for it still. Randy Orton. He's like,
Oh,
I want one more shot. Like it's been 20 years. I want one more shot at Rock. Give it to me. You know he's back there begging Triple H, give me the match. I've been begging you for 20 years. I want a rematch. And then you got thrice in a lifetime.
mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. That should have been just one. I was about it was twice. So you don't need thrice. No 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 no
It's
no no
gonna be
no
thrice.
no no
Rock's gonna
no
have
no
four matches, and
no
those are the four
no
matches.
no. If I will be a I will be a Cody crybaby if y'all give me that full crap three times. It should have happened in freaking New York again. That's what happened. No, that babyface era BS. I try not to cuss. Is over. No, 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 no. No one wants to see Rock versus Cena 3 times,
And
especially when Cena is now a Looney Tune character as a wrestler. I don't know what the freak happened, but now his eyes are just getting all big when he gets a high tag. Like, sir, you used to do this well, or at least decent.
and
What are you doing now?
and the thing is
Cena Rock.
that those matches are basically all going to be retirement matches.
I
Like,
see Cena Rock way
well,
more than I see Cena, or than I see Rock
aside from
Orton. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe we'll see that, but I could definitely see Cena Rock again. I don't necessarily want to, but I guess we could. I could see that happening again.
That'll probably be Cena's retirement.
No.
Yeah.
Continue. Go for it.
So if Roman's gone, what's the next? I mean, is the bloodline just now Solo and Jimmy and Paul? Do they keep it up? I mean, what happens? Rock's going away for a little while. Roman's going away for a little while. Jay's not involved. What are we doing with the bloodline?
We're expanding the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Fatu?
Mm-hmm.
Zilla and probably one or two others.
Are they all already signed and guaranteed to be coming in? I mean,
Jacob is.
They have a couple signed.
I mean, I know
I
Jacob
believe
Fatu
Zilla is
signed.
signed too.
Okay.
Like, I heard someone say that it's gonna be Solo's spot, like what Triple H did after WrestleMania 14, the new DX, and you have X-Pac come out, and so Solo is in charge of the bloodline. I wouldn't mind that. Just don't f it up. I know Roman's not here, but Solo is well equipped to carry on the torch of the bloodline. It doesn't have to be the main event. Just have them just have again. Just let the freaking story be deep, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think the bloodline ends. I think the bloodline changes.
Yeah, the regeneration of this bloodline.
Yeah,
I mean,
where
factions come
DX
and go. I
loses
mean,
Shawn Michaels, and then they get four new dudes. Continue on like
factions
this
come
is
and
normal.
go. Factions come and go, and the
Um,
question's
well,
how
I was
long
saying it to agree with you.
the
I was just
shelf life
reiterating
on
your point.
the bloodline. We'll have to see ultimately what it is.
Yeah, because
Night 2, Simi.
Drew McIntyre versus Seth freaking Rollins. Love Drew McIntyre's entrance. Seth Rollins made me cringe.
Yes,
So,
good.
A lot of people brought this up, and I didn't even I'll agree with Sammy. It was stupid to begin with, but then you add on Ninja. You just lost last night, so why are you coming out here all happy with the freaking voodoo band from freaking Philly, and you just lost? It doesn't like no. I know you're supposed to dust yourself off for your match, but no, you're supposed to be mad, you're supposed to be pissed, not with a freaking zebra pastel it was bad.
I thought Drew's entrance with the swords was, for me, the best entrance of both nights of WrestleMania. That's just my personal opinion. We talked a lot about it at the time because obviously it was a huge deal with with Drew winning first and then Damian Priest obviously cashing in. Finally, he cashed in, waited fucking forever, but it happened. And it was, it happened the right way. He won the title. So, I mean, we talked, like I said, we talked a lot about it when it happened. I still feel bad for Drew ultimately that he only held the title for all of 2 minutes, I think. But it is what it is, and I'm sure he'll have his chance again. He's still, in the scheme of things, fairly young, and it still has, plenty of opportunities. We'll see.
Not
It
even
sounds
his
like I said,
twenties.
he's going to sign. So, assuming he signs again here and it's multi-year, even whatever, he'll have another opportunity, I'm sure. And
His,
he's got to finish this
his
with
focus
CM
is
Punk, right? I
squarely
mean,
on CM Punk. Yeah,
yeah, he's got to finish the
squarely on
story with
CM
CM
Punk.
Punk, right? So, which I mean, yeah, it should be. And at the same time, like you want that belt back, or you want that belt. So I mean, Damian Priest should at least be in your peripheral. So let's see. I'll ask this: what's next for Seth? now that he doesn't have a title?
So he confirmed, it was confirmed, he's going on vacation. Not going to be a long vacation. It said 4 weeks. And he's definitely needed. When you get home, Seth, I think you need to rethink. I need you to rethink your character in the space of WWE because it hasn't been working for a minute. Like you being the drip god and a baby face and a champion is too much in the blender, and all I taste is ice. And so I think
Is it true that him and Becky's contracts are almost up?
They are almost up, but you know what? Okay. I don't want to be smug about it. I'm like, I really don't see them not signing with WWE. I think a lot of people say the same thing about Cody. So I'm not going to say 100% they're not signing, but I think it's very unlikely that they don't resign.
I think he should go on a tour somewhere else. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not fresh.
It's definitely not fresh. He definitely needs a character revamp. It's
Minimum, he
very
needs a character revamp.
it's not a good thing that darn near every time someone challenges you for the title, we're voting for the other dude. Like the beginning of this match, it was a Claymore, and half people was like, "Yes, beat this crackhead," and it's like allegedly, and it's like, "Oh no, you just kicked him in the face." All right, fine. We'll do it. We'll do a full match, but that would have been hot too. It was just a short behind. You're being stupid.
I'd like for him to go to New Japan for
So
not
WWE is
for a
still
long time, but like for a minute. Like his contract expires, enter the G1, and then come back.
WWE is still, probably the most watched wrestling, in the world or whatever, at least in the United States. But I feel like AEW at the moment is really the playground for dream matches. And if you
Mhm.
want to go prove how good you are, and Tyler Black actually cares about proving how good he actually is, then he should go over and have some matches with the Kenny Omegas and the Will Ospreys and
The
the
Will
Okadas.
Ospreys. The Will Ospreys. Yes.
Yeah, and let's see how
That
good
it.
you actually are. I mean, I think
Give,
that's interesting. I mean, Seth
I'd
Rollins
love for that match at All In.
I don't like Seth Rollins as a character, and I've never really been a big fan of him in WWE. But the man is an amazing wrestler. You can't deny that. And I'd love to see him in some of those dream matches against some of those guys that I believe if he stays in WWE, we'll never see. So
No.
that's from a selfish perspective. But
No, these 4 weeks, I hope he uses them wisely to just think about what he wants and what he wants to do forward, like, and
yeah,
get rest, all that.
yeah. All right. What's next, Sammy?
Then we had Damian Priest winning the title off of McIntyre, which woot woot. Let's go Priest. Woot woot.
Do you think so? This was all this had to happen essentially, right? I mean, obviously Rhea
Mhm.
retained, and that's great for Judgment Day, but they lost the titles during their scramble match on night one, or that ladder match, whatever you want to call it, on night one. So they're down championships. So obviously Damian had to cash in here. Otherwise, Judgment Day is, has a little bit of a stank on it, right? If you don't, I mean, so yeah, he had to do this to keep Judgment Day up and running.
Like when we were discussing this, when everyone was discussing should he cast in, it was really like, no, don't do that to Drew. Nah, you haven't built him up. But watching it live, it was just like, yes, let's go. They set it up perfectly. Do it now. Stop on heaven. Let's
Yeah.
go. And so this matter of now, it's all a matter of. Cause I do think that Drew wins it back at Clash of the Castle. I do think that. So it really is a matter of they keep doing this, but they haven't succeeded. WE building him up as a champion when you put the belt on him. It's very backwards, but if you're gonna do it,
They are going to
let's
do
do
that,
it.
aren't they?
Huh?
He's going to win it back at Clash of the Castle to lead up to his feud with CM Punk when CM Punk comes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
But until then, please do right by him. Please do right by Damian Priest and make sure he's a main eventer before you take the belt off of him.
What do you think is on the table for
Uh,
Damian Priest as his first contender or first feud here? What do you think he does with the belt first?
So
he's gonna
spoiler,
beat Jey Uso.
Okay.
That was the end of the match. Do you want to know exactly what happened on
Oh,
SmackDown,
that's what happened on Raw?
Yeah. You want to know exactly what
Go
happened
ahead.
on Raw?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
it was a 4-way. It was
Name a number one contender?
Yeah, for the number one contendership. It was Ricochet, Drew, Jay, and was it Big Man? Was it
Bronson Reed?
Bronson Reed. And so Drew comes out and he's going crazy. He's like, I lost my title to a blondish looking taker, basically S&M looking taker. He called Damian Priest. He took him out.
That's funny.
He wasn't even his fault. It was Punk's. So Punk, I'm coming after you. I'm gonna attack your weakest part of your body, which is your whole freaking body. And so he was going back crazy. At the end of the match, it's him versus Jay. He's about to Claymore Jay. But who but CM Punk grabs his freaking leg at the last freaking minute? It costs him the number one contendership. I can't wait for them to run this back. Probably at SummerSlam. It's gonna be so freaking fun.
Yeah, I mean they're doing a really good job of building this CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud here. By the time CM Punk's able to be cleared and they're able to actually go at it, it's going to be red hot.
Up next, we had the Philadelphia Street Fight with special guest referee Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah, this was probably unfortunately the down part of this night too. The lowest point of this night too, unfortunately. Still solid, still good, nothing necessarily bad about it, just probably the slowest, down or the weakest match of the night would be the way I put it.
This is the weakest match of night 2, and it's better than half the matches of night 1.
Yeah. Because like Montez Ford showed out with that freaking leap over the freaking turnbuckle. The girls showed out because I ain't going through a table for nobody. But I'm not in the freaking match, and so it really is hard. We're in a new era. I hope in the new era they will allow a little bit more violence with these DQ weapon matches because it's very hard to get into it when they're still PG. I'm not saying total blood, everyone's an artery's coming out, but yeah, some wounds, some marks, like ow, that actually felt that hurt. I want a little bit of that in these matches, but it was decent. But yeah, I want a little bit more edge. I don't know how you get it back, but I mean, you can watch AEW to see how you get it back. But yeah, I just want a little more edge when it comes.
They don't have edge in AEW, but they do have Adam Copeland. But yeah, when you're saying that, like I was thinking like Blackpool Combat Club in AEW, like they always bring it in those kinds of matches, like it's always violent, like somebody's getting color. I don't know who, probably John Moxley, but somebody's getting color.
Right. Even the women doing the tag team disqualification matches, someone's always getting effed up basically, and it's just like, can we just do a little bit more? Can I just beat her just a little bit harder? I'm just asking.
All right, next, Saber Joe.
LA Knight defeated AJ Styles.
So
solid match.
And he has a new theme song. How y'all feel about his new theme song? I had to listen to it again. It didn't suck. I just got to get it in my veins, maybe a little bit more to make a decision if I like it or not.
Well, the big thing to it is that, like AJ Styles said in an interview, he had to change it because his theme song was too good.
It's not
good as far as like a face good or like
a baby face. No,
like a baby face good.
Like, because like he tried to be heel with the song before, and like
it didn't work.
People would still be cheering him and stuff while he was coming down to the ring, and then he gets on the mic, and then he starts killing it up on the mic, and then they start booing. But it's like, it's weird when they cheer you coming down and then boo you when you start talking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest like I don't know what you would even call that, heavy metal, speed metal, thrash music. I'm not really a big fan of that, which is kind of what it sounded like to me. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of meh on it, but it is what it is. I mean, it's at least he's changed it up a little bit. It fits his, for lack of a better term, badass AJ Styles kind of
Persona.
new persona to him that he's got. He's changed up his look for sure. He's not wearing like the tights, the regular tights anymore. Now it's
No
jeans,
booty
and
hole.
he's got almost kind of like that Undertaker American badass type of feel. They're trying to kind of be that now a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit more rugged, a little more tough guy, which is fine. I mean, I don't have any problem with it. I thought this was a solid match. I enjoyed it. I like both these guys a lot. I'm not surprised LA Knight got the win here just because he's been getting the push a lot, but it's AJ, and with AJ, you never know because he's a legend, a living legend, and in for all intents and purposes, one of the greatest of all times. It can be argued. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
I will say this, making a comparison with the Jimmy and Jay, I needed that blood feud with like they had that like AJ was like,
Yeah,
all right, new theme song, yay! I'm coming to get your behind right now. I'm running to you on site. I needed that with Jimmy and Jay. I needed like I don't this shouldn't be a wrestling match. I want to
yeah.
kick your behind, and I think AJ and LA Knight did a perfect job of doing that. And so
Yeah.
they did more than what I thought it was going to be. It was actually pretty
It
good.
felt more like a grudge match than Jimmy and Jay did.
Yes, yes,
They hit
most
that grudge
definitely.
match mark better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up next, we had Logan Paul defeating Kevin Owens and Randy Orton.
What can we say?
Um, Honestly, kind of a
What
perfect
can be
match.
said?
Mm,
Kind of a perfect match. Elaborate.
yeah.
Like, you got all the Kevin Owen bits, you got all the Randy Orton bits, and you got Logan Paul doing his shenanigans. You had dude in the Prime costume,
That was
helping
so.
out.
That was someone different from SummerSlam. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
it
to
wasn't
say.
KSI, it was I Show Speed.
I feel like I was thought, like, are y'all playing with me? Is that the same dude, different name? 'Cause I
No,
really didn't know.
different dude.
I'm like, what the so
And you also had the brass
here,
knuckles.
yeah. Didn't hate on the match. I think everyone did a great job. Oh my God, KO is beautiful in the air for a big boy. Uh, I don't know. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about this. Where do we go with Logan Paul? Because
Uh,
I'm not gonna say his
I
brand
mean,
sucks, but it is becoming disinteresting for me.
I don't know like what pay-per-views he's planning on doing, like because we got Paris, we got Scotland, we got Berlin, and then the other two are Money in the Bank and SummerSlam. I believe Money in the Bank's going to be in Canada.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if he's wanting to do all these international pay-per-views, like, good for him. But I could also see him just as easily saying, "Nah, I'm going to skip those."
Do we run
Yeah.
back? Because I think everyone. Sorry, you go first, Nick. Because my question is like an ending of the conversation question.
I was just gonna say that I said this at the time, and I've said it before. I think if he's still in the category of celebrity wrestlers, which I think he still is, he's definitely the best of the bunch now.
Mhm.
We'll
Oh,
see.
yes.
I don't know how long I need him to actually hold the title for. I don't know that I ever really needed him to hold the title. I don't know that it's done anything, honestly, to elevate the title. I mean, I know that he gets a lot of eyes on him and that he's got a lot of non-wrestling people that follow him, and so it does bring eyes potentially to wrestling, and I
Exposure.
do see that. But I'd be interested to see I don't know how you would track it, but I'd love to see if there's any way to actually track how that translates and how many more viewers they actually get in comparison to, the fact that he has a title and so on. At the same time, Randy Orton's held so many titles and blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily need to see him with another title. And KO, doesn't need a title to be a main eventer. So, out of the three that need it, he definitely needs it. I hope he defends it a little more often. Than he has, or he loses it in the next defense to somebody that's going to defend it more often. But I thought the match was good. I thought the match was solid.
Do you think that we've passed the time of wanting to get Logan Paul versus LA Knight, or will we ever get that match?
That's a good question. I hope we still get it at some point.
I really wanted
it feels like it feels like it's a loose end that's never quite been tied up, or that they haven't put a bow on. So at some point, I'd like to see that story kind of concluded, but I don't know if we ever will.
I think that's
they kind of seem to be on opposite paths at the moment. So not opposite, but different paths. Not opposite, but just different paths at the moment. So
also the draft is happening in a couple weeks, so
yeah.
we could get a revisit of Logan Paul versus Ricochet.
Yeah, that I'm here for. I guess now that you mentioned it, we can go ahead and talk about it now. What do you guys think? So, okay, I got a couple questions for you. Would we all consider this the first WrestleMania of the Triple H era?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No? You think last year was?
No. 38.
So
2022.
So you think 2 years now? You think
I think that was the baton pass.
No. So I say no because you can still hear Vince's influences in.
I agree.
Well, he was literally on the show, and so was Stone Cold.
Yeah.
So I think that was like a 50-50.
But so it wasn't a full Triple H era because Vince still had his matches. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you're saying, huh? Okay, so what? Because you got now confused.
I felt like that was a 50-50. That was the start where it was starting to change hands. But it wasn't complete, no.
Wasn't complete, but that's where it started. I definitely agree with
you. So
you
would say 39 was the first time where it was a complete Triple H WrestleMania.
Yeah. No, still no.
And we discussed that last year wasn't.
You say no for 39?
I have 3 words for you. Omos versus Lesnar. No.
Yeah, I think there was still a fair amount of input from Vince at WrestleMania last year too. I think this, not that I can put my finger on it, but just because of the way things have played out, it feels like Vince is the farthest away that he's ever really been at this moment in time. And if for no other reason, simply because it's not his company anymore in that regard. So,
Even Stephanie came back.
Right. So, yeah, it just feels like the first one of the Triple H era to me. Do you think that? Well, okay, so I guess the next question is, what does Triple H have to do to stand apart or to be different from what's gone on? He's already doing stuff like the draft, which is continuing on things that we've already done in the past that haven't worked, in my opinion. What do you think about that kind of stuff? Do you think you should be doing the draft again? You think you should be continuing on these traditional things or switching it up more?
I think the brand split is needed because we don't want the situation of like when Vince was in charge in the 2010s of where he got rid of the brand split and we saw the same 10 people on both shows dominating both of the shows and not seeing any new talents get any airtime.
And more so, I'm excited for the draft because Fox is no longer in charge. So those little demands of we want this person on our show are over. So we can actually position people. We can actually position people on the shows and actually continue storylines. So I'm happy about that.
Ideally, you'd like to think that the people that they have the new contracts with, i.e., Netflix or whatever, are going to be easier participants than Fox was. You never know. Netflix might have some of the same demands too. Hey, if it's Raw and it's on Netflix, we want X, Y, Z, or we're not. It doesn't work for us. So, we'll have to see how that works. My only thing is I don't have a problem with the draft. In theory, the draft is great. I'm not a huge fan of often the way that they do it. They need a better format for doing it. They need a better method of doing it. But I don't have a problem with the brand split or the draft. My only problem with it is that it never ends up meaning anything. After 6 months of it, everyone's always on every other show anyhow. So it doesn't really matter. Like it's like the brand, it just goes away after a matter of time, and everyone's back on both shows. So I mean, it
Well,
always
6 months
stays a
from
little
now,
bit, but
6 months from now, it's Survivor Series. So it makes sense to do that. Then you got the Royal Rumble, which is going to be all the competitors competing against each other. And then same with Elimination Chamber and then WrestleMania. So it makes
yeah.
sense that the brand split only really works for 6 months because, like, how pay-per-views go.
Yeah, I mean, then
But,
I
like,
guess
that six
say
months
that,
is a
or
good time because it allows people to get their time, to move to the front of the line if they can, and then into the lead up to WrestleMania if they've,
yeah,
used these 6 months to progress themselves.
right. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
But going back to what Paul needs to do, he's already doing it, which is basically don't rely heavily on part timers and old people, no offense, veterans to be your main event, actually building up stars. What I think he can improve on is listening more, which he already is. Like you said, listening to the when fans are like, "Nah, we don't want this." Like, okay, like he's already doing that. So just do more of that, and you gotta do better by the women. Rhea and Becky are good. Bianca's good, but that mid card of women needs help, and you have to pay attention to them as well. You gotta do better.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's next?
they're given time. Like,
Okay. My main thing is Raw, and you have Candice LeRae, who is probably one of the best female indie wrestlers, and she's in this
mhm.
feud that makes not gonna say make no dang sense, but is that picking up speed? You have Shayna Baszler, who is basically an MMA killer, and you don't have anything for her in the main event, or even a good mid card story. So like I said, and I'm not saying he sucks, but there are
You got Chelsea
improvements.
Green, who is great character.
But here's the
You know,
thing, I'm like, hold up, she's not on Mania. Aw, boo. I really was like, boo, why isn't she not on Mania? I don't
well,
even think she needs to be. I don't even think she needs to be in a match. Just have her going backstage trying to get a match, and then lead up to the Raw after Mania, and you get her
that
versus yeah.
well, I'm sorry, but in Triple H's booking, like, we got to get used to that because Vince was very much the type of anybody and everybody. Let's try and get as many people on as we can. Triple H is very much of, like, if you look at the takeovers back in the day, like, half
And
the
I
roster isn't even touching the card.
and I get that, but I think Chelsea Green is one of the people this year that deserve to be on WrestleMania. I'm not saying all the girls should be on there, but Chelsea Green put that work in this year. I think, like I said, I don't need her to be in front of people, but have her have a backstage segment. I think that could definitely have worked. If you put the
Um,
work in
It
and
felt
you were a good character this year, yeah, I think she goes to Mania.
I'm
with
hoping to
with
see her back together with Carmella in the future,
We'll see
hopefully
if
near
Carmella
future.
comes back,
so a
but
little while ago with Sasha and Naomi gone before Naomi came back, but with them gone and Charlotte kind of out. I mean, yes, Rhea's awesome, but it felt like the women's division was a little down. Now Naomi's back. Jade is here. Julia's coming.
mm-hmm.
Does it
Yes.
feel like the women's division in WWE is back to where it should be? or does
I
it still need
think
more?
we got to delineate that there's a main card and a mid card,
Okay.
and it's really hard to break through the perception of being one or the other. And like
Yeah.
for some women, it's very unfortunate because like Shayna Baszler should be main card, but she's treated mid card.
Yeah.
Um,
I even think
uh,
Zoe Stark
Naomi
should
has
be.
that trouble too.
Yeah.
Naomi is a main card, and she's treated mid card most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
If I had to compare it to 2016-17, which I believe was probably the greatest. Let, let me think. Let me think before I confirm that. Yeah, for me, 2016 and 17 was probably the best time for women wrestling. Yeah, yeah. I know Ronda came 2019, but I still or 18, but 16 and 17 was really on and popping. I compared it to those years. We're almost there, almost, but we still need some work to put in. Not a lot of work,
All
but
right,
yeah,
Sammy, what's
definitely
next?
work.
we have the women's match: Bailey versus Io.
Was anybody surprised that Bailey won?
I was a little bit. I was a little bit because again, that the story coming up, it was like, well, okay, are we keeping the belt on the other? Y'all really wasn't paying attention to this freaking feud that well. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I'm surprised because of storylines and because the Damage Control lost the night before, and it's like, wow,
Correct.
okay, Damage Control lost both nights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I don't think
But
they're long. I think they're going to break up.
but the first issue is kind of remedied by the fact that a draft is happening. Because if a draft
Yep.
wasn't happening, I think WWE would be making a big mistake because you don't have women on SmackDown for her to face because like all the major talents are baby faces. Like
Hmm.
oh, okay, yeah. Talking about EO. Um, I don't
you
want to
got
break up just
Io,
yet.
Kyrie, and Asuka. Damage Control. Those are the
Right.
heels on SmackDown.
Like I don't want to break up just yet, and that's me being totally selfish. I because this the idea of this group can work and it should work, and I want to see it work before you break them up. Now sometimes, even though I want it, sometimes you just gotta go bypass it and be done with it. I will say this: if they want to run that back at Backlash, Bailey versus Io, I am totally for it, all for it because this match was great. I feel even though the story kind of started before Royal Rumble. The actual feud between Io and Bailey just got started in the ring. So I want a little bit more of this feud before they go to other people.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. This
I'm,
was definitely better than Rhea and Becky on night one when it comes to women's championship matches between night one and night two. I liked Bailey winning. I don't have a problem with it, but I understand what Sammy's saying, and you're right. It does become resolved, hopefully, by the draft. Hopefully, SmackDown will get some women that will be able to challenge Bailey, and so
I'm really looking forward to the draft.
yeah. So
It'll be
I
interesting.
don't think that I do see a split ultimately coming. I don't know if it'll be through the draft or so a fourth split, but I do see Damage Control probably being split up. Um, I see the Kabuki Warriors probably staying together, and the other two, Dakota Kai going on her own, and whatchamacallit, Asuka. Well, I guess it's Asuka and Kyrie. Who are Kyrie Sane and Asuka are the Kabuki Warriors, right? So Io Sky on her own, I guess, ultimately. Um, or
Well,
maybe
oddly
those three
enough,
will stay together. Maybe they'll stay together and Dakota will just go on her own. I don't know. But ultimately, I see them breaking up probably sooner than later. Um,
Um, with the draft coming up, I could see them drafting Dakota Kai back to NXT. She'd be
sure.
good
I mean,
for the
that's the thing.
division
They
down
could be
there.
forced to split up through the draft. I mean, that's one way to split up some of these factions that are potentially needing, I don't
but
know, to be split
here's the
up or some
thing:
sort of new
like
look.
them splitting up won't matter because they're still tag team champs. They're supposed to be on both teams. So if you're gonna split them up,
Well,
then
that's
it's
the
regardless.
Kabuki Warriors.
But in
Yeah.
Bailey's
Oh, I see what you're saying. They can go to either
like
brand.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you really want to break them up and truly do a split, you gotta get the belts off of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably true. All right. What's next, Sammy?
And to close off the show, we got Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns, ending the fourth longest reign in WWE history.
Boo.
So
Dang
I'll
it,
ask
I
two
want.
questions.
Okay.
The first question is this the most feel-good WrestleMania ending ever?
You can't
No,
ask me that because I didn't want this. So that's Sammy.
no.
No.
I can name three off the top of my head.
Oh,
Go
hit
ahead.
us.
It is with me.
We got Kofi Mania.
That wasn't
Okay.
the ending though.
We got the Yes Movement.
Okay.
And we got the
Okay.
hug between Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit.
Oh
Which,
yeah. But
retrospect, back then, it was a very feel good moment.
It was great. So you can't say Kofi Mania because that wasn't the end, even though it should have been. It was a women's stupid. It was a women's stupid freaking three-way. That should have been. That shouldn't have happened.
Oh,
Right? Yeah. And then people
I
was like,
forgot.
right? Yeah. But like a lot of people was like, well, in my mind, after Kofi won, it was over. But yeah, it was. But yeah, I will agree with you on Daniel Bryant. I'll agree with you on that one. Like this again, I don't want to
he
be
beat
down.
he beat 3/4 of Evolution in one night to become the champion. Like,
It's
yeah.
history. Oh yeah.
So
He did.
And Ric Flair
Triple
would have
H,
been there if they would have let him.
Yeah.
He definitely would have
Triple
taken
H,
that Daniel Bryan match.
Triple H said by all metrics, and I think there's one that I'm not sure I believe it meets, but by all metrics, that this is without a doubt the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Now, it might very well be ticket wise, it might very well be money wise or merch sale or all that due to inflation and the dollar and what the value is and all that, blah, 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 blah. For me personally, I still don't, I still think WrestleMania 17 overall was a better WrestleMania, and I still think that's the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Um, but I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that WrestleMania 40 will be the greatest WrestleMania of all time, or is the greatest WrestleMania of all time now?
It really depends
It's
on
it's definitely up there. I gave it an A minus,
Okay,
but like night one does bring it down a bit.
Right. Okay, I'll say this. For the importance of the future of professional wrestling, it probably is the greatest one. Now, so everyone was driving this point home. No more sports entertainment. We're back to letting professional wrestling. No more stupid big man crap. We can actually be creative. Like the weight is off our shoulders. Freaking the Wiz. Can you feel the brand new? I feel like so in that world, it's the greatest one. Now, based on the matches and based on how I feel, I honestly, cause like I think okay. I know people were mad that Cody lost last year, but I think last year beat this year. If we're putting both nights together, I really think last year beat this year. Am I by myself?
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Um,
I don't. My memory isn't good enough at the moment to recall all of the last year to know. I'd have to watch it again, but
Like
yeah. So
I,
off top of my head, it was Rhea versus Charlotte. Rhea wins. We have KO and Sami
right.
beating the Usos. We had that triple
Yeah.
threat with Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther. And then you have in real and people are sleeping on it. Asuka versus Bianca, even though it didn't have a story, that match was good too.
Yeah.
And then you have the shenanigans of it wasn't supposed to go down this way, but it did help the card. Shane coming back and hurting himself, and so Snoop had to take control and put everybody
That's
out.
right.
And
Shadow
that
Mask.
was a good
Yeah.
moment. That was a good moment, though. So
matches that you're not remembering. We had Edge versus the Demon Finn Balor.
yeah.
Okay.
As you mentioned before, Brock Lesnar versus Omos opened up night
Right.
two. Ronda and Shayna Baszler defeated Liv Morgan,
No,
Raquel,
that's right. They were the
Natalia,
tag team.
Shotzi,
That's right.
Chelsea Green, and Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
The best match of the night was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeating the Usos. We had Rey Mysterio versus Dominic, which that was
and
that was
that
great.
I love his entrance. That entrance is still top notch. Dominic coming out in the freaking police van with his father's mask on.
Seth Rollins and Logan Paul, and Logan Paul had KSI in the Crimes outfit.
Right.
Trish, Lita, and Becky defeated Damage Control.
That was actually decent.
Right.
That was actually decent.
Austin Theory defeated John Cena.
Yeah. Terrible match.
And you had the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match with the Street Profits, Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders.
That was it.
It hurts my heart because I love both Austin Theory and John Cena. Cena's one of my all-time favorites, but that match was terrible. I can't lie.
It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, they feel kind of on par with each other. I mean, a little bit of recency bias. I think that maybe I enjoyed this one a little bit more this year than last year, but I think they're both probably on par with each other. Two of the better WrestleManias that I can remember in recent years.
So I remember both times I'm like, screw this, I wanna go to sleep on both years. And I remember last year it was Omos versus Brock, and I'm like,
Right.
tell me when this is over. Oh my god! And then it was another. Then the women came out. I'm like, oh, why would y'all do this to them? Lord, this is going bad. And then it was a triple threat with Sheamus, Gunther, and Drew. I'm like, all right, we're back. Let's go. We're having fun. Comparing that to this year's night one, I think the lull of last year was shorter than this one. This one it was longer. Where I'm like, this is we're not starting this off right or not.
Well, I mean, the lull was really only the mid part of night one. So no, because the Becky match was the first one, so never mind. It was pretty well the beginning then. Beginning of night one, but it progressively got better and better as we went, which is a pretty great thing.
No, I'm not gonna front. Like night two was great. I think night two they're like, okay, we're back. Let's hit this on a high note.
The worst match of night two was better than half the matches of night one.
That's probably true.
So it's more so okay. But I think both nights from last year was better than both. And that thing, people are like, well, we're not gonna put the two nights together, going to be separately. You can't do that. You can't do. It's WrestleMania 40. It's not a night one. It's the whole weekend. So
I think that's the biggest sign that this is Triple H's era, is that every WrestleMania before night one was better, and this year night two blew night one out of the water.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Like, I gave night one a B plus, but like there's a large gap between B plus and A. Like B plus is closer to D than B plus is to A to me. Like, to break into that.
That's funny.
I'm just saying, like, it's hard to break into those upper tiers, and night two broke into that upper tier. It was basically a perfect show to me.
No, most definitely. But can we talk about the main event, because the shenanigans ensued, and I'm all here for it. I need to know why Austin said no. I'm okay with Taker being the spot, because if you're not gonna have the glass break, give me the dome. Because the set is like, oh my gosh, I was here for it. So I'm not saying it was better or worse, but I think storyline wise, everyone wanted Austin, and it's like, why didn't Steve? Why didn't you say?
Did we get the right Undertaker, or should he have been in his Undertaker outfit?
He should have been in a freaking hat. I was, Matt. Like, sir, I think someone said it. Someone said it best. That the look he had is Limp Biscuit. You can't put Limp Biscuit with the dome. If you're gonna put the dome, you have to have the hat and the jacket on. You can't be the dome and have a freaking American
I
Badass
think
gear
the
on.
one big caveat is if it was Stone Cold, people would be like, one more time, one more time, one more time. But with it being the Undertaker, it's a cool spot, and we can let Undertaker ride off into the sunset again.
I don't.
It's Stone Cold last year, right? Or was it the year before? Year
Yeah,
before?
we had Stone Cold last year.
38.
No, year before. You're right. It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago versus KO. So I mean, I don't need Stone Cold every year. You can let other people do stuff. I mean, I don't have a problem with the Undertaker spot here. It feels a little gratuitous and a little pandering and a little playing to the crowd when you have multiple, legends come out at the very end, in the main
But
event.
it
Is what it is.
also felt
It's
so
funny, though.
WWE. Like that match felt like it encapsulated WWE into a bottle and
Like, and it's
presented it.
WrestleMania, like it's WrestleMania 40, and if you're not gonna do the 30 spot of 3 legends come out and do a promo, I would much rather this happen. And for the story of the final boss and Cody and Roman and trying to get the belt to either side, I think The Rock's greatest rival is Stone Cold. So that's why most people are like, oh, the person who beat his behind 3 out of 4 WrestleManias. That's kind of why people wanted. But again, the spot with Taker was great. Do not get me wrong. The spot with Undertaker was great, but I do think he should have had the hat on in the jacket.
I mean, basically, you take the top 6 guys from that time and you can throw them together any which way. Like,
right?
That's kind of what I was going to say. All those
Undertaker,
guys are
Shawn Michaels, Mankind, Triple H, The Rock, and is it Jericho? Is Jericho number 6?
No. For this
you already said
spot,
6.
no.
I did say 6.
Yeah, you already said 6. So
Yeah.
that's the 6.
I'd say Jericho's number 6.
Those 6 are all kind of interchangeable. Anyone can show up to any one of those 6s, and it's like, oh shit, here we go. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Right.
I mean, I guess in theory, Stone Cold and The Rock have a little bit more on it than Rock and Undertaker, but there's still enough meat on the bone between Undertaker and The Rock, and just whatever that it still hits. It still hits hard. But yeah, he should have been in his hat,
Right.
especially with the gong.
I'm trying to be an adult. I'm trying to think of reality in people's lives, but I'm like, yes, the pacemaker couldn't handle one pedigree. Like the pacemaker couldn't handle like one. I'm not saying a full spot, but just
Yeah, with his heart trouble, I don't want Triple H. I mean, I don't really care, but I don't necessarily want Triple H in the ring.
I'm trying to be an adult, but yeah, like you could have had one punch, like just like a couple of punches and just do the clothesline over the ropes, and then especially right after they did the A&E rivalries of Roman. I'm like, oh.
If he hadn't had the heart attack, a year ago or a year and a half ago, I think it's highly likely that maybe he would have done something. But now, I don't know. I don't blame him for definitely not doing something.
No, I'm like, this is just a Nika the wrestling fan wanted it, but I totally, but I totally am not promoting hurting your heart to entertaining me. I was just.
I do got one last question.
I left off Stone Cold, didn't I? Stone Cold number 6. My bad.
I think you included Stone Cold, but anyhow.
Undertaker, Mankind, DX, Rock, Stone Cold, 6.
All right, you said DX, so you didn't say Shawn Michaels somewhere.
DX too. Yeah. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, 6.
Cool.
So here's my question. We all are tired, obviously, of Vince. We're all happy that for all intents and purposes, it seems as though he's gone away. At least in the capacity that he has in the past. Obviously, it's a very short phone call between him and Triple H, right? And Triple H, I'm sure, is always answering the phone. Stephanie's out there at WrestleMania. She's obviously Triple H's wife, but she's also Vince's son, right? Or Vince's daughter. So it's still that kind of family tie a little bit, even though she's left and come back and left and come back and been outwardly kind of, I guess, anti her father since the sexual stuff has come out, especially. But um, do you think that there's still too much of a connection to the McMahons for WWE to actually, that they need to somehow shed more of that to get away from all of it? Or you think it's okay to still have Stephanie in the fold and ultimately Triple H in the fold? I know Triple H isn't going anywhere, but
I think it's perfectly okay because of how they do business. See, Triple H has a team around him that will question his ideas and his actions. Vince cultivated a team that would never question anything.
Mm.
sure.
I will say this on TV. Okay, I'm gonna be a Nikki the wrestling fan for a split second. I love Stephanie. I love Triple H. So this whole allegation really hurts my heart. So I'm like, what did you know? What you not know? Not professionally, right? I do think that they both know. Let's limit our faces on television. That's why they're like when people are like, "Come on up to us," she's like, "Y'all not understand? We're still going through something. I cannot come. Like, stop telling me, stop asking me to come out over the camera so all this is squashed." Now, Stephanie, change your name. Change your name. I know. You already did when you got married, but now on camera, you are no longer you're no longer a McMahon. You are a little back. So we have now kept saying Paul the Bat, and it's weird. He's Triple H, he's Hunter, but fine. If we're gonna keep saying the Paul Levesque era, then change your last name. You are Stephanie Levesque now on camera. Period. But I do think like it's WrestleMania season, right? So I do think they were like we can come out and show our faces a little bit, but until everything is resolved, don't come out no more. So until there's a ruling, don't come out no more. But change your name,
I,
Stephanie. Change your name.
well, we don't know what all Stephanie knew, but we know she knew
Sure.
enough that she wanted no involvement with anything with her father, that she left the company and like was never going to come back.
Yeah, but that wasn't also until everything hit the fan either, right? This isn't,
It
you know,
was before.
10 years ago when everything was okay and she was like, I, know what's going on. And I mean, it wasn't like she blew any whistles or stood out or did anything that I would call admirable in the situation except separate herself from her slimy dad when the shit hit the fan.
Like,
She
okay.
left, and then when he left, she came back, and then when he came back,
Right.
she left again.
Right.
So I'm gonna give Stephanie a little bit of empathy. Not more so than the victim, just a little bit. I am a daddy's girl. So I cannot imagine if my daddy is nasty and now he just butt crack stupid with his nastiness. Where it's like you ain't even paying old girl no more. Now you just being reckless with this stuff. And it's like everyone's saying turn him in. I'm like, if that was my daddy, it is not. My daddy is an honorable man. He is in the other room. He'll be going over freaking night trips, and I have to remember where he is. He comes home every night. He is that my like my daddy ain't nasty, but like to be a daddy's girl and to be in this situation, I have a little bit of empathy. I still think whatever happens, if she knew, she needs to face the consequences. But I do have a little bit of empathy about for her this whole situation. So.
I mean, like I've seen like interviews with people who were like the children of serial killers, and like there's a struggle to separate your parent from the monster that everybody else knows them as.
Exactly. But like, hey, whatever the victim wants, the victim gets. But like, just stay out of like until this all over. Just don't. I get it was WrestleMania season, woohoo! But we all get it. It's Triple H ever. Don't come out no more. They stay behind scene and do your jobs. Don't come out no more.
Uh,
Well,
can
that's
children be forced to testify against their parents? I know spouses can't, but can children?
Hmm, that is interesting.
uh,
So why would
it all
children?
depends on
Yeah,
the circumstances. Yeah, and they'll do it in a particular way that they probably not in open court. Maybe in the judge's chambers, the judge will talk to it. Depends on how old the kid is and the circumstances of what's going on and all that stuff. I mean, it
that
all
is
weighs into it.
that is weird though, cause like if I'm his kid, if mommy can't if mommy has to testify, why I have to testify?
Okay. So here's my very last question, and then we can go ahead and wrap this up real quick. Um, with new ownership comes a whole different kind of um, ball game for someone, say, like a Triple H, right? When it's your father-in-law and it's a family company, you probably have a lot more leeway than you do when someone you don't necessarily know that isn't family, that is just a colleague, whatever, a peer owns a company, right? Endeavor, TKO, whoever's heading that up. Um, how long is the Triple H leash? Do you think Triple H is here indefinitely, kind of in this role as now the face of WWE management? Or do you think that if something happens where things get at all hinky, they'll be quick to fire and move on? I mean, it's like I said, it's got a little different feel because it's no longer just, family owned and they can do whatever they want to do. So, what do you think? How long is Triple
And
H's leash?
can they fire him? Yes. Will they fire him? No. I believe Triple H, when he's, had his fill, and he even said that, he'll stay as long as it's fun. If it's no longer fun, he'll leave, and he's having fun doing what he's doing.
If I'm TKO, it depends on if the money is still good, if we're still making money, if we're still good. Uh, this year gave Triple H a little more leeway because when The Rock came in, he wanted to be the main event, and that was Triple H is very diplomatic now. But we know that this was not that he did not want Roman versus Rock this year, and thankfully for Triple H, the Cody Crybabies came out and he was like, see, now get off my freaking script and let me handle business. Stop interfering with my what's the face. Stop interfering with my creative team. So I think he has way more leash because of that.
What Triple H wants is what the fans want. He wants the fans happy.
Yes and
So
no.
it's not so much as to what match he wants. He wants to give the fans the match that they want. I
I
respect
won't.
that.
I won't say all that directly because case in point, Chad not going against Gunther this year, and so I don't think he's ignoring us. I don't think he's ignoring fans, but there is a balance of I hear you, but I will still do what I believe is right. So I'm not saying he's totally
Well,
ignoring us. He's definitely listening, but I think there's still a balance of I'm going to still do what I think is right.
there's also the case of he wants us to be patient. Of like, because last year we wanted Sammy and he didn't give it to us, but this year he gave us Sammy in the mid card.
Yeah, you can't compare that because even though Sammy
Last year
won,
we wanted LA Knight. This year I think LA Knight's winning Money in the Bank.
so we'll see. You will definitely see. Cause I think someone else is going to be a contender for being the Money in the Bank if he doesn't win at Bash in Berlin,
Oh,
aka
last
Edge.
year it was a sin not having LA Knight on WrestleMania.
Well, like okay, well, and then this year it should have been LA versus Logan Paul, but we didn't get that. And then going to Sammy is two different things. We wanted Sammy to beat Roman. We didn't get that. Even though he won the IC championship, we didn't get Sammy beating Roman. So again, he hears us, but it's not going to be 100% of what we
But
want. He's still going to do what he thinks is right.
also we have the argument of what ALW presented is Sammy on the level of Gunther, and Gunther's the mid card champion, not Roman Reigns.
Now this year is different, but last year there was a big argument that he should have been the one to defeat Roman. There
Hmm.
was a huge
Hmm.
argument. So I'm not gonna compare both years. But last year,
Yep. Agreed.
But I think that he probably would have done the same thing with Cody of making Cody wait another year, but the fans weren't having it. And he was like, all right, well, if y'all feel that strongly about it, here we go.
Right. I do think some stuff was altered, man. We were so close to the Hogan record. So I really don't know what was going on in his mind. I kind of want to watch documentary on WWE of what happened after Roman came in and shook things up. We'll see how much was his actual card and what was actually, what you call it, improvised. But it was still a WrestleMania overall.
Because I had two things slotted ahead of Starcade in Atlanta and day one in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Where I figured those were the two places where I felt like Cody was more likely to win it than WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And we got WrestleMania instead. But now we get Cody as champion doing Starcade in his home of Atlanta, and then doing day one where his dad's match was in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. Those two.
So that could be where he loses the title.
No.
Day one, January 1st.
We can't do that.
I mean, that's a pretty good title reign. 9 months.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. We're definitely in the summer of. We're getting into the spring and summer of Cody Rhodes for sure.
Right.
And I think WWE is. I think WWE is pretty warm at the moment. I mean, they're cooking. I mean, it's better than it's been for me in a while. So I'm excited about what's coming down the pike here.
So here's me fantasy booking. He loses it at day one. He then is the first person in history to win the Rumble 3 years in a row.
No, I'm sorry.
Stop. Why do you keep saying that?
No one's ever done it. I think football, the same thing is about to happen. The same team's about to win the Super Bowl 3 times in a row for the first time in history.
And I'm already pissed off. The Chiefs have become the freaking Patriots. So no, what you're saying is all heel stuff. That's pissing me off. No.
I don't need Cody to win again.
CM will tell you Cody is a heel. You just all don't realize it.
I don't need Cody to win a third year in a row. It makes the Royal Rumble boring when people just continue, when you have repeat winners like that, in my opinion.
So you think that should never happen?
I don't know that it should never happen, but it definitely shouldn't happen 3 years in a row. It should be a big fluke that it happens twice in a row. No, I mean, when you put 30 men in a ring, the reality is that your odds of, I mean, we can do the actual math, but the odds of winning, several times is very small. So no, it shouldn't be happening. It should happen very, very rarely. 2 should be a very rare anomaly, and 3 should never happen.
I'll say this.
Ever.
I don't see
especially not Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. For me, I don't see a situation where I could be glad or excited someone won it 3 times in a row.
I agree.
I mean, they're gonna be talking about it if he's in the match. He could be the first in history to ever.
That shouldn't be in history, though. Do we really need that in the history books? No.
But I mean,
I hope
if he's in the Rumble, that will be if he's in the Rumble, that will be part of the conversation. I mean, I don't think he'll win a third one, and he shouldn't, but that will be part of the conversation.
Like in history, there was slavery. Do we really want to see that? No. No. Some stuff doesn't need to be need to be done because of history.
All right. Well, what else, Sammy?
I mean, all we can really talk about now is our expectations for the future.
No. It sounded like you were about to say something. No. I'm ready to wrap it up. If you're ready to wrap it up, it just sounded like you were about to say something.
Well, I was gonna refute the statement of this would be changing history, not repeating history.
No.
It'd be the first time in history.
No.
Yeah,
No.
and then when the freaking the Revolutionary War was the first time in history. That need to happen.
I mean, there were plenty of revolutions before.
Yeah.
I'm saying we shouldn't do stuff just for it to be the first time in history. I need more. I need more forethought than that.
I agree.
Now I'm just saying stuff.
I agree. I agree. All right. On that note, unless you got anything else to say, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. We will be back tomorrow for All for Not. I believe it's going to be our final episode in its current format, and then it will be going the route of shorts. Myself and Sammy Joe will be doing shorts for Raw and NXT.
I was
So be
actually
looking
about to
for
talk to you
those.
off screen about that.
I know, but I just mean long term, ongoing. So pay attention for those, but join us tomorrow night for All for Not. And make sure you check out our Dynamite short review this week and the rest of them that will be up. TNA, MLW. Let's see, there should be one for BTE at some point and Ring of Honor. So make sure and check all those out and be back here Friday for Friday Night Fights. And then where we watch SmackDown and Rampage live, and then Saturday for Collision live watch along. So, unless anyone else has anything else I want to say, I'm going to say peace.